The resounding theme was, nuh-uh, that's not it. Turns out AIs are not magical. We create what the AI will be able to actually learn from and leverage. So without us, you kind of have nothing.
Dan is a human endeavor.
I don't think we had enough conversations about what all of these changes mean in terms of the teams that are supporting and making this work.
We are going to see some huge disasters from lack of governance when this stuff comes together.
I'm scared. Hey, looking at you, 26, let's talk more about governance and change management. What do? Do we trust the system? Do we trust the assets? Is the metadata authentic and authoritative? We trust and authenticity. Let's talk more about that.
I think if we don't spend at least one entire track talking about trust and authenticity, I think we have failed.
I need to solve this problem. Who can solve this very specific problem? Not what will the next big thing be?
Not everyone needs DAM 5.0. Did anyone else enjoy the variety of perspectives on agentic AI?
I just saw sort of schizophrenia in the makeup of the room where you heard, on one hand, AI will realistically replace people in the near future with AI agents. And then I also heard people talk, God, people are still asking us if AI is going to replace them. Of course not.
You are hearing different things from the technology leaders in the space, in the room, and some of them are going to get it really wrong. And they're not going to make it.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Damn Right podcast. I'm Chris Lacinak, your host and CEO of AVP, the best damn consulting company in the business. One of the biggest benefits I get from being both of those things is I get to lean on the brilliance of my colleagues at AVP and bring them onto the podcast to help me out. Today, I'm going to bring together 5 of my colleagues that were at the conference to share their takeaways, their insights, their predictions about the future of the Damosphere, all for your listening pleasure. And of course, we're going to have some fun along the way too. So I'm glad you've joined us and I'm excited to get started. Let's jump in. Welcome to the Damn Right podcast, everybody. We've got the AVP Brain Trust, or at least a portion of the AVP Brain Trust. I feel like this is like the daily where they get the panel discussions. You get like field reporters out. We're going to report on Damn New York 2025. And we all had very different experiences. Some of us were in a lot of sessions. Some of us were in the hallways or in the conference floor a lot. So it's going to be interesting to pull this together. We haven't yet as a team done a recap. So we'll do it live here for everybody. So I want to start with an intro, quick round robin. I want everybody to give us your name, your title, so everyone knows who's here today. And then give us one word or phrase that captures your overall impression of Damn New York this year. So, John, why don't you kick us off?
Good afternoon, good evening, good day. John Horodyski, Managing Director, Strategic Client Growth here at AVP. One word to describe the event, but there's so many good words. The easy one would be metadata, but I'm going to say excellent. Excellent.
Kara, let's go to you next.
All right, Kara Van Malssen, Managing Director at AVP. My one word or phrase will have to be empowered.
I guess we don't have time to explain, so we'll leave mystery hanging in the air. Okay, Brian, why don't you go next?
Brian Courtney, Senior Consultant at AVP. Phrase, cautiously optimistic.
Pamela?
Hello, everybody. Pamela Vizner, Associate Director of Implementation Services. And I would say my word is excited.
All right. Jason?
Jason Ulsh, DAM Solutions Architect at AVP. Probably my phrase is more of a statement at this point. Everyone is sort of sick of talking about AI.
All right, I'll finish this off. Chris Lacinak, CEO, and my word is elevate. There's a lot of stuff around optimization and elevation of systems. So we got more adjectives than I would have guessed. I thought we would have got a lot more kind of technical, pragmatic stuff. So interesting intro. Awesome. Well, so glad to have you all here today. Thanks for joining. So let's jump to our next thing. I'm going to ask John and Kara to kick us off here with talking about, as longtime attendees, I'm curious if you could share with us any takeaways, themes that was unique to Damn New York 2025. You've both been to a lot of Henry Stewart and otherwise generally DAM events. So what do you think was different about this one? What caught your attention?
I can start. So there's a lot of talk about how 2 years ago, we believe it was 2 years ago, there was a proclamation, a bold statement made that metadata is dead. And it really sent a ripple through the crowd. And it was kind of this harbinger of doom type of statement. So a lot of the vibe of the event, and then the subsequent events that have come after, like the Dam LA, and then the next Dam New York, and then the next Dam LA, there was a little bit of sense of doom and, AI is coming for our jobs and coming fast. This year, the resounding theme was, "Nuh-uh, that's not it. We need data and good, structured, quality data more than ever because turns out AIs are not magical and they don't just understand things by just poof, appearing like a genie. They use a lot of data, they use a lot of structure, they use a lot of content to learn from. And so I think that was a key message that was kicked off in the opening keynote sessions the first day of the conference. And I think as a result, people were really hearing like our profession is really important right now. We are the people who create data. We create structure. We create the what the AI will be able to actually learn from and leverage. So without us, you kind of have nothing. Without the foundations, you'll have nothing. You won't be able to leverage the AI as greatly anticipated. So that's why I said my word was empowered because I think people felt kind of empowered to be part of the movement, of part of the future. Um, but I wrote a little LinkedIn post about this today. This really was my main takeaway from the conference, but I'll just add one more thing because what I also was when I left, I was thinking, well, we're not here to just feed the machine because that's kind of how the conversation was going. Like you have to help create structure, train the AI. But I think we need to have more agency in this situation and be the ones that actually help shape how the machines are going to support us and how we will leverage them. Not, you're just here to support the machine. So that I wanted to kind of make sure we considered that angle as well. Like, yeah, we're not here for them; they're here for us. So let's do it. Let's think about it that way.
John, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that I wholeheartedly agree with you, Kara. The 2 years event, it never ever start an event on saying things like something is dead. That's just negative. But this conference kicked off on the other side. Like it's the positive side of it. I mean, I've been doing this, I think it's now 19 years I've been doing these events, and I still get excited, to use one of the keywords today, by the renewed interests and the interest in just, I can't find my stuff. Where is my stuff? Can someone help me? Technology, metadata integration, all those things. That gets me excited. But what I really came away from this event was that sort of the human element about DAM. DAM is a human endeavor. You need humans to make this work. The technology is fantastic. Excellent vendors were there in the room. Interesting new technologies, a DAM adjacent. The new term is DAM adjacent, apparently. But it's still the human element around these things that make it all work. And to Kara's point, just that let's get the metadata, but let's get the people around the scenes and the conversations we heard in every session around shared visions or how do we get visions. That's a people thing. And I thought it was excellent. Now, why did I say excellent? I had seen Waiting for Godot 2 days before the event, starring Bill and Ted, Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter. Dudes, excellent, all those good things. And this was excellent because the interest again in, are we doing this right? How do we get this working? Are we working together? The metadata, the integrations, the technology, all those things. Walking away from DAM New York 25 was excellent.
Are you enjoying the Damn Right podcast? If so, I would love to ask for your help. Please follow or subscribe. And of course, word of mouth means a great deal as well. Please share with others that you think would benefit from hearing the content in these episodes. All right, back to the show. Let's jump into key takeaways. I'd like to do a round robin here, and maybe because we've already heard from Kara and John, Pamela, if you wouldn't mind kicking us off, I'd love to just hear what was your number one or at least a top. It doesn't have to be your number one, but one of your top takeaways or insights from the conference.
Yeah, sure. I also want to add to what John and Kara were saying that that's exactly why I said I was excited, because I think this is also like a great opportunity, like DAM being the center, or not the center, but a very important piece of the whole ecosystem. And so I just think that's really great, a great opportunity. I would say my key takeaway, and something that I noticed was kind of a difference from past conferences, was the role of the dam in the whole ecosystem, and how we were talking about integrations. Like in the past, and also in the work that we've done with clients, it was very common to say, try to do as much as you can in the dam. If you have all these different tools, try to use everything. And I think people are more and more embracing the need for a more integrated ecosystem, and how the dam can play with these other elements. And I think that was an interesting change in the conversation. So I think that's my main one.
Jason, let's throw it over to you.
So I want to change my earlier answer, my one word takeaway, because I was thinking about what Pamela was talking about too. And I think really the theme for me for this one was really like connection. So what I heard a lot of was, how do I get what I have to be better, and not what do I need now? Like, what new thing do I need? But like, I have a thing, I have investments in it, and I have people using it. And like, I don't want to do a new thing. I don't want to move to a new platform. I want to grow what I've got. I want to make it better. We heard from speakers who had migrated to new systems and the difficulties and challenges that involves. But when I was talking to people, they were looking for other people who could help them with their thing. They weren't looking for a new solution. They were like, who do I need to talk to? What do I need to think about? And I feel like connection was really a strong thread that ran through a lot of the discussions on the floor and what the vendors were talking about. Less of this single source of truth stuff, and more of like a source of truth, like what we call the postmodern dam, right? That there's one relative. So I thought that was interesting, that a lot of people were kind of thinking along those lines.
Well, I'll jump in there. Because it plays off of and that's exactly what I was thinking when I said the word elevate. Was I heard several people say, we are not, we're using about 50% of the capability of our dam. We know we could be doing so much more in it. But I also heard there was a real theme around people wanting to just optimize things instead of necessarily replace them. I had a sense that in the past, maybe people would have been saying we want to replace our dam or some component of our ecosystem. And this time I heard people wanting to talk about exactly what you're saying, Jason, like how can we optimize things, whether that's people, processes, technologies, whatever the case. So that was a big takeaway for me. Brian, let's throw it over to you.
Yeah, so I'm the newbie to the DAM conference circuit, which is interesting because that gives me a different set of eyes to look at it with. And my standards are probably high, which is not to criticize the conference at all, but I might have been expecting more. But I was also lucky enough to have two of our active clients that I'm working with there too. So I got to see it both through my eyes and their eyes. And to your points of optimizing, these are two clients that just deployed a new DAM system. They're trying to figure out, okay, great, it's live. What can we do to tweak it and make it better? Because all of that type of reporting and insights are very fresh. So they were very interested, I think, in hearing what people are imagining is coming next. And what they were most impressed by are vendors that were hyper focused on one or two things, and they were doing them really well, as opposed to the vendors that were saying, yeah, we'll eventually be able to do all these neat things, because that feels a little vaporwary. It's a little bit of smoke and mirrors. So they were really, I think, really excited about, hey, this vendor is solving this one specific problem and they're really focusing on it. And it seems like they care and they're doing it well. So that was an interesting takeaway for me, because I feel like that's probably how a lot of consumers are looking at things too, is I need to solve this problem. Who can solve this very specific problem? Not what will the next big thing be?
All right, Kara.
Well, I'll just add one more because I gave you my big takeaway. this is a small one, but I heard it a couple times and I thought it was a really good, very specific thing. Um, End users should not need training in the dam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Interesting.
oh, yes. Contributors, yes, but end users should not need training in the dam. They're not gonna, like, show up or listen anyway, so you might as well. No, but I think that's a really good point. Like, can you make it simple enough and useful enough so that that group of users don't necessarily need training? They're smart
Sure.
people. They know their assets, they know their business, they understand how computers work, so, yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
a cool
Key, key for adoption for sure.
Mhm, mhm.
Great. John, anything to add?
So many good takeaways. I think the big one for me came through one of the sessions, and it's the word trust. I think to Jason's point, if this is postmodern dam, are we in the bubble of AI still? Are we sort of out of the bubbles of AI, whatever that could be? But I think trust, that's a big word that many of us don't know necessarily how to apply that to the dams and what we work with. And I think along with trust comes the word authenticity. And I think a takeaway for me is many conversations we're dealing around, what do we do? Do we trust the system? Do we trust the assets? Is the metadata authentic and authoritative? What is this AI thing doing anywhere? The content's correct, yes or no? And I do think authenticity, even extended to Chris, and something that's very important to your heart is that C2PA, content authenticity movement, to which I did mention to a few people, and people were like, "What's that? How do I learn more?" So takeaway, definitely trust and authenticity. Let's talk more about that, please.
Yeah. I'm going to add one more thought, which was the one that what I kind of prepped for, which is, I think AI is still very much unresolved. Like I felt in some ways, it felt like, okay, it had evolved, but I just saw sort of schizophrenia in the makeup of the room where you heard on one hand, leaders at platforms talking about AI will realistically replace people in the near future with AI agents, and we will not replace people. We'll need less of them to manage the dam. And when they said it as if that, with confidence that everybody in the room would shake their head yes and agree. And then I also heard people talk, eye roll, God, people are still asking us if AI is going to replace them. Of course not. With the same confidence, right? So I thought that was just interesting because these are people, high up in organizations that are all smart folks that have their finger on the pulse. So to me, that was one example. I think there were several where this is just, there's still a tension and an unresolved nature to this. So that was a big one for me. All right, let's jump to hot takes here. We're thinking about, did you hear anything, or maybe you had some thoughts, bold claims, controversial items, or maybe things that weren't said, like that you were surprised. How did this topic not come up in the midst of a dam, gathering? Anything of that nature? Let's jump to, let's see, Brian, you want to start us off on this one?
Sure. I was hoping to hear more about what people could be doing with unstructured data, and they can't do anything with it, is really what I'm learning. So, aside from reading PDF documents, which I feel like my phone can do pretty well, even, nobody's really saying, yeah, well, thinking about something like a migration project. Nobody's saying, I can go look at your old stuff and figure out what the taxonomy should be and move it right in and just hit that button. I would think that that would be a bigger problem that some of the vendors would be wanting to address. And it's really not on anyone's radar, which also made me think we should stop calling it migration and just call it digital moving day. Because when you've had a physical movie day, it's just a nightmare. There's a list before the day, on the day, after the day, and never do you cross all those things off as it's scheduled. And that's how it is.
Kara?
Gosh, I remember standing out in front of the conference hotel, was this yesterday, and John had the microphone, and he was saying, "Hot take, controversial statements," and I was like, and then I said I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said, "Half of you are gonna be out of business in 5 years."
Who
So,
aimed at who? At who? Who's you in that?
the technology folks. So I think what I was thinking about, and I guess maybe I'll just keep riding this wave, is that just to pick up on your point, Chris, about the schizophrenia of all this. Absolutely, it's still the future is uncertain. We don't know where things are going to land. We're starting to see our ability to shape this future a little bit better. We understand the limitations. We understand the gaps of like a lot of this AI technology, and what we'll need to do to use it more effectively. But we kind of don't know where things are going to go. And you are hearing different things from the technology leaders in the space in the room. Um, and some of them are gonna get it really wrong, and they're not gonna make it. It's a bubble. I think we're in a bubble.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's gonna be interesting when the bubble bursts, like who survives and who doesn't. And I can't predict, but I'm just sure that, some of those going all in on certain AI directions will be wrong. I mean, inevitably. That's just how this stuff plays out. And so I guess that's maybe an obvious but perhaps controversial statement. And so I guess, yeah, that's my bold statement of the day.
Things are heating up. The controversy's cooking here. Uh, John. John is the one who was asking everybody what their controversial statement was. Let's hear what you come away with here.
Well, I have a hot take and I have a controversy. Let's do both. Hot take. Why was there not enough discussion about governance? Hello, where are you? It came up in every session, and yet there was no session. There was I think one session that sort of touched upon it, but we didn't talk enough about it. And we also didn't talk enough about change management, which also was mirrored in other sessions. So, hey, looking at you, 26, let's talk more about governance and change management. But for controversy, let's go with this. Because this came up in the last panel. What do we call ourselves? Is this digital asset management? Is it content management? Is it something we heard words like DAM adjacent? Duh, never heard that term before. We heard the word digital undertaker. I thought that was awkward, but interesting. But who are we? Is it digital asset management or not? Could we keep going with that word? Do we do something else? And I think that's really fascinating, controversial for sure. But who are we? Do we want to use the words down? Do we just call ourselves content management going forward? I don't know, but that's a fun, controversial discussion I would love to participate in. Yeah.
Jason.
All right, so I have a laundry list of hot takes, but I'll go with my number one that was just confirmed from going there, which is not everyone needs DAM 5.0. That was my hot take. There are people who are very well suited to a mid-market or lower tier DAM. It does everything they need. They don't need all this stuff. They don't need to pay for all this stuff. Some of our clients are moving from the big stuff to the lower stuff because they don't want all that. It's too much noise. It's too much capacity. It's too much expense. So, but to see this aggressive push, like more features that people won't ever make use of, is just, I know it's the nature of any industry to like continuous growth, but some people are happy with and only need these smaller systems. So I think that is always going to bug me. Because those people aren't really being addressed. And I could hear people chattering behind me like, what if I don't want to be DAM 5? What if I'm DAM 1.0? Is that okay? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like, just be, do what you need to do. But I don't know. I just, yeah, it always bugs me at these kinds of conferences that people just think everybody wants all the things all the time when that's not really true.
Yeah, it's a great point. Great point. Did you have other things you want to mention, or you want to stop there?
So I was thinking about governance, and I was thinking of that Calvin and Hobbes strip from ages ago where he's got a booth that says a swift kick in the pants, $1. And Hobbes asks him how's business. And he's like, I don't know. And it's terrible. No, everybody I know needs what I'm selling. And I was thinking we should just put governance there. No, business is terrible, but everybody needs what I'm selling. But yeah, it didn't come up really at all. So
Pamela.
I think I would agree with Kara in terms of the AI. And I think the reason why we have this kind of different reactions is precisely because we don't know where it's going, but we've seen some results and we could picture maybe some things working for us, but we're not ready yet. So yeah, I would agree with that, and also kind of tying it with what Jason was saying. I think with what we see with a lot of organizations and some of our clients too is that I didn't some people or some organizations are just not ready for that yet, not ready even to start testing. Not even they don't even know where to begin defining what use cases would apply in their situation. So I think that's part of why we get that reaction. And I think I would also add, agreeing with John about the governance and also the people part of things. I think I missed quite a lot of that. I think I heard some comments about maybe the changes in the role of the dam administrator um, being, switching to something that is more technical because they need to support, maybe AI or integrations, right? But I don't think we had enough conversations about what all of these changes mean in terms of the teams that are supporting and making this work. So, yeah.
All right. So I'm going to stay on the human side. I'm going to say I've been surprised, but was surprised in this in-person gathering, not that we didn't talk about how many people have been laid off across the dam sphere, right? Like we've seen a lot of layoffs, and I think it was spawned by economics. Like it went along with the tech sector in general. There was a larger number of layoffs in the tech sector than in other sectors. And I think now it gets more complicated with the introduction of AI and what that means. But yeah, I was just surprised we didn't hear more about that. And I think it's not only important for us as humans that are working in this space, but it's right at the core of what is the future of Henry Stewart Dam conferences, because that's who shows up. So what does that mean in a few years if this trend continues, or do we think it won't continue? I thought it would have been nice to have had some conversation about what to make of it all, and gotten some various perspectives there. So that's my
Well, and to that point, Chris, I mean, it was mentioned at the final session about some of the layoffs. Someone also mentioned that there's like 75 jobs currently being posted in the digital asset management space. But that being said, this points to who are we going forward? That's, the bigger we. Is it digital asset management? Is it content? I don't know. Maybe this is even, a postmodern evolutionary time for us to maybe rethink some things and generate new interests in different ways that can maybe help stimulate and spur, job
Yeah.
activity.
I heard that too. There was an audience member who said that it was taxonomists had been getting laid off in droves because two reasons. One, nobody knows what they do. And also they seem seriously like they have a really important job that is not easily understood by people outside of your space. And just
just to clarify, nobody in their organizations know what they do. That's what you mean, right?
that's true. We know what they do. Everyone there knows what they do. But they were like, yeah, the people they work for, not so much. But I think they were really feeling the hurt because they were an easy target because the dam administrator has like visible impact, and a taxonomist, it's mostly under the radar. And I think that's really unfortunate. Get really important work, especially in the age of AI. Taxonomy is like utmost importance, and it's very short-sighted.
Yeah, although I also saw solutions demonstrated and discussed that say you can now use AI to create your taxonomies, right? So, and it doesn't say, again, I go back to, what I tend to hear is the theme is this is not replacing outright humans, but where you needed 3 or 4 people before you can get away with one, uh, today or in the future.
Did anyone else enjoy the variety of perspectives on agentic AI? I heard 4 completely different takes on what it was for, and why you should use it or why not. And it was just fascinating to me because no one seems to know. They just know they have to have it or something like it, but not really like why or how it's going to work or I thought that was amazing that nobody agreed on what to
Yeah.
do with it.
I saw that too, Jason, and then people couldn't define it properly. So if 4 people can't define it, I hope someone knows what it is because it seems like it is important. It's just let's get a better definition, perhaps that we can all agree to and understand what it is. But it is here, and it is important.
Yeah. Tying many of the things we've discussed together. I really appreciated, big shout out to Christina Huddart and the other platforms that participated in her AI tech playoff, right? This was sort of like the Damn Bake Off where 4 vendors came and kind of demonstrated what they could do with AI, and a lot of that was agentic AI, automation, various things. But I'll tell you, it was really enlightening. I think it was to Kara's point, like, AI is not at the point where it's taken people's jobs, and I thought it brought real grounding to the conversation. And I'm not, I all of them are awesome. I really appreciate all of them. What I'm about to say is not meant to throw shade at anybody, but it was underwhelming in contrast to the hyperbole that we hear of where AI is, in the sense that it was just very, you know, it was very it wasn't a magical robot that could do everything, right? And it was just made very clear how much humans are needed, how imperfect AI is. And it was awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong. We were seeing things that you just could not have done, as efficiently or at all a year ago even. So that was awesome. But it was really like, okay, this is a real look at real life sort of implementation of these things, which I really appreciated that.
Yeah, Chris, my biggest takeaway, I think, from that session was the fact that every demoer was showing at least 6 different models or tools as they demoed what AI can do, because there is not one AI, right?
Right.
Everyone is using several different tools, and that is why all of the results will be different too, because
Yep.
when you think of how many different tools there are and how many permutations there can be, when even the people demoing are showing 8 different tools that they're trying to like stitch together into one solution, it's going to be an interesting conglomerate of options available to us in the marketplace.
I was gonna add that also the use cases were so different, right? So it was very hard to compare, side by side. They were doing completely different things, and I think that also, to me, was a very good way of saying, okay, well, you need to define those use cases very clearly, and for your organization is going to be so different from another organization, right? And so, how important it is also to have that human aspect of being able to describe and identify exactly what I need to do, and then start from there, right? But it was really striking for me that it was they were showing incredible things, but they were also very different, right? And it was also exciting to see the possibilities, but yeah, it's like also very hard to picture like how that could be implemented for a given organization, right?
Yeah. I was looking into this, and like a lot of these multiple model sort of clusterings are leaning on an MCP server. So listeners, if you don't know what an MCP server is, look it up. Model Context Protocol. It's how the models know what the other models are doing. You need one of those if you want to do stuff like this on your own, but it's kind of cool that like that's really what enables things like agentic AI and all these models like talking to each other and doing all the collapsible model work. People kept throwing the term around at the conference, like, and I don't know if most of the people listening had any idea what they were talking about, but everyone was talking about their MCP servers. So just thought it was interesting.
There was on our internal Slack channel, someone said, and I can't remember who said it, but so and so company said they might replace their back end with AI.
Yep. Their front end their whole back end's going to be AI now.
Which
And
means
Pamela's
what?
like, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. What does that mean? Yeah.
Postmodern.
Yeah. Was modern. Yeah. It doesn't. So I asked one of the vendors, like, do you have an agentic AI solution? And they were like, you mean automation? We have automation. We're good. So to them, that was like, that's really what it is. It's an AI front end for a whole bunch of really clever automations that work together and do things. And that's one way you could build agentic AI. But there's
They do it.
like, oh,
I do appreciate that people are now distinguishing between automation and AI. Last year, this time, they were not. Everybody was saying AI when they really meant both of those things. So it was nice to have some sort of clarity there. All right, so time to pull out your crystal balls, and let's say what will be the 2026 #1 theme at Damn New York. I'll kick us off on this one. I'm going to go to governance because I, like John and like I think it was Pamela said, we didn't hear about governance. I think as we see the number of humans being involved and maybe the skill sets, that's evolution of what the dam administrator or dam manager is, as we see more stuff being given over to agentic AI, as we see, this wall-less dam, I call it, like where you don't have to log into the dam. You can be in any application everywhere, searching, finding, creating, depositing things, that we are going to see some huge disasters from lack of governance when this stuff comes together. And we will be at 2026, Henry Stewart, DAM New York, talking about lessons learned on the importance of governance in this evolving landscape. That's my prediction. All right. Who wants to go next? Who's got one? Go ahead and jump in.
I think if we don't spend at least one entire track talking about trust and authenticity, I think we have failed. Because there's way too much people willing to gamble on AI, but also automations, which can also lead you astray. Or in multiple integrations, which is maybe risking sources of truth or repositories. So I think that needs to be a hot topic for everyone's sake.
I'm right there with you, Jason. I think trust and authenticity. To go to Chris's point as well, as we've been learning, it's been a few years now. I think it's like hey, how are we doing? But I do think a trust and authenticity discussion is super important. Even spilling into the C2PA world of what is authenticity and how that can be embedded and all those good things. I do think similarly in the human context of this all, and Jason, you and I have giggled with this term of like a postmodern dam. I do think instead of the where are you in the terms of like dam 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, etc. Goodness, how far it could go. I think we should talk about like where are we postmodern dam? Where are we? What's working well? Maybe throw in some things like trust and governance in that space. But I think there could be something really interesting to sort of throw out postmodern dam and see where we all are, how we're all doing with that type of thing. And you know what? We are 6 wonderful creative human beings. We've got other wonderful creative human beings with us at AVP. I think we could probably do a really interesting postmodern dam trusting something in New York in 26.
All right. I like it. So we've got a new acronym emerging. This is PMDA, right? Postmodern, dam adjacent, combining those two. We've got some.
No. DAW came up a few times. People were saying dam adjacent, DAW. Doesn't resonate well. It's not good, but DAW. Dam.
So who's got our next prediction for us?
I guess I can go. I think we will probably see some more organizations talking more about their experience with AI more in depth. So most of what we saw was from the vendor side, and then some people mention, oh yeah, we've tested it or we're using it, in some minor things. But I think we will see some more practical examples and maybe some success stories and maybe some failures. But yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen.
I was going to say the same thing. So Pamela took my same idea, but big prediction here. I think AI is going to be a topic next year. Just gonna throw that one out there. Um, but I agree with Pamela. I think reality check time is starting to come into the conversation. It has been very kind of vision vendor hype led for the last few years. And then so we're all kind of being spoon fed, what's going to happen. And I think this year we've all been playing with these tools for the last couple of years. We kind of know the limitations now, like you can't dupe us anymore. We know what's happening. And like your point, Chris, about the session, like what they demoed were very practical, but very specific use cases. So that I think we'll see more the real use cases, the real examples. And I hope that's what I really like to see. I think like reality check on all this, that would be like if there were to be a theme, I would love to see that theme. And in general, just kind of where we are in this industry, where different organizations are in terms of maturity or desired maturity, even to your point, Jason, about maybe we don't need, maybe for us, this is fine where it is. We'd love more on that. Yeah, that's mine.
Again, as a first-time attendee, I don't feel I have enough structured data to make a prediction about what will be next. But I would love for a theme to be noise cancellation, which is not just because on the plane I needed that for my precious ears, but to just like try to get some of the noise out of the dam for people, right? Like let AI or workflows or automations, whatever it is, remove some of the unnecessary steps that people take, right? And some of that could even just be UI design. But I think that's what people are also struggling with because they're worried about their jobs going away. But the reality is everyone's getting more work still. So anytime we can streamline even small pieces of that, that's what people are really going to want to hear. So any vendors listening, hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
All right. I just asked ChatGPT what the 2026, I asked it to predict what the 2026 theme would be. And it said intelligence, interoperability, and impact, the next chapter of DAM. That seems like a cop out. That's too.
That sounds clinical.
Yeah.
Ask it again in 5 minutes.
See what happens.
All right. All right. So we have to, because it's the Damn Right podcast, close this out. We want to hear what was the last song to your favorites playlist. John.
Oh, I'll go first because a man after my own heart. Let's talk about music. As I flew home across the entire continent last night around 1 a.m., the album dropped. The new album from Tame Impala dropped. So I downloaded My Old Ways, the first track off their new album. So yeah, that's my most recent song.
Kara.
God, please don't make me go. I don't know if you guys know, but I have like a almost 10-year-old son, and he has been running my Spotify account for the last 5 years, and I just made his own account in the last like month. So now I can clear out all his stuff from but like I can't tell anymore what's his and what's mine, and recommendations don't work for me, and I have no idea. But I have this playlist called Airport Playlist. It's what I listen to when I'm traveling. And it's quite long. And so I was listening to it a lot this week as I was traveling. And the last song that was added to that playlist, which I know is my playlist and not my child's, is Genghis Khan by Mike Snow.
Pamela, what do you got?
So mine is not a song, it's a whole album. A friend of mine recommended this punk band from Uruguay a few days ago. They are called Cuarteto de Nos. And it's actually an old album, and I don't know why I didn't know about it, but it's really funny and kind of depressing. The lyrics are very funny, and there's a lot of rhyme and kind of like rap too, but it's punk. Yeah, and I've been listening to that album. It's a lot of fun. It's just, yeah, it's really great.
All right. You got to send me your favorite track because we're going to put it on the Damn Right
Oh,
site.
yeah. Okay, I will. Yeah.
All right, Brian.
So I'm a weirdo. I don't have any playlists at all because I don't typically stream music. But when I'm going deep into some data, I will slap on some Aaron Copland Appalachian Spring because it's like 22, 23 minutes. That gives me a good like time-bound limit for how much I can do. And there's no lyrics, but it's beautiful music, so it helps my brain focus. So that's all you can get from me.
We all need stuff to help us focus. Jason.
I was, for another playlist, looking for source songs that were sampled a lot for other songs, and I discovered Marva Whitney, a song called Unwind Yourself, and it opens with this sort of saxophone riff that got sampled a lot in a whole bunch of hip-hop in the 80s, and she's just great. It's just great music. Fantastic, fun to listen to. Marva Whitney, yeah.
All right. Jason's been digging in the crates. Thanks for the question. I'll say the last one on mine was Miss Black America, Kirby featuring Big Crit. It's a great song. I'll also say it was relevant because on the way home, I sat on the plane with 2019 Miss America was on my plane. So that's also a funny coincidence. And we lost the artist D'Angelo this week. So we're going to say rest in peace and throw Untitled, one of my favorite D'Angelo songs, onto the playlist as well. All right. So anything we didn't cover that anyone wants to say before we wrap?
Tony's Chocolate Only Bars. Thank you so much to the Storytech guys for providing us with a huge quantity of excellent chocolate throughout our sojourn at Henry Stewart.
Yeah,
It's really appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
all right. Well, thank you all for taking the time to share your insights, your takeaways, your hot takes with us and the rest of the Damn Right audience. We appreciate it. Are you enjoying the Damn Right podcast? If so, I would love to ask for your help. Please follow or subscribe. And of course, word of mouth means a great deal as well. Please share with others that you think would benefit from hearing the content in these episodes.